Political processes in Kazakhstan took center stage in the discussions inside the European Parliament. Members highlighted the growing importance of Central Asia for the EU, noting that Astana is pursuing a path of gradual sovereign modernization at its own pace, and that Kazakhstan is actively strengthening its democratic institutions. Meanwhile, Kazakhstan and the European Union are deepening what has become one of Central Asia's most consequential strategic partnership, spanning trade, energy infrastructure, and the critical minerals. Bilateral trade now exceeds $45 billion a year. European investment in Kazakhstan has topped $200 billion since independence, and the landmark €12 billion investment package is now moving from commitment to concrete projects on the ground. Our reporter, Almira Mirov, is standing live by in Brussels, the heart of European decision-making, with more on where this relationship stands today and what comes next. Almir, over to you, and I see the rain pouring as always.
Thanks, Nurbek, and yes, 1 week in Brussels and the daily rain already feels like an evening ritual for me. And standing here at home to the European Commission, the European Parliament, and also the NATO headquarters, it's easy to understand why this city matters so much to Kazakhstan's foreign policy agenda. The EU remains Kazakhstan's one of the largest trading partner and foreign investor. And the numbers speaks for themselves. In just 4 months of this current year, bilateral trade reached more than $12 billion, with Kazakh exports accounting for almost $9.5 billion. No resource sectors are also gaining ground. Agricultural exports to EU grew by 34%, topping $266 million. That relationship is underpinned by the Enhanced Partnership and Cooperation Agreement, the EPCA, which entered into force in March 2020, making Kazakhstan's first Central Asian country to sign such a deal with the EU, covering cooperation across 29 sectors, from political dialogue and rule of law to energy, trade, and digital connectivity. And the momentum is only growing. At the landmark first ever EU Central Asia Summit in Samarkand in April of last year, leaders elevated relations to strategic partnership there and reaffirming respect and sovereignty and commitment to a rules-based international order.
So for us, the EU, we see Kazakhstan as a very strong partner, and we have been building our strong partnership, which is based on mutual respect and trust, but also on the same attachment that we do have to the UN Charter and also to a rules-based order. This is very important to us. And as you know, the EU is Kazakhstan's main investor and trade partner, while Kazakhstan is also a very key partner to us, the EU, for energy security and economy. So our cooperation is basically based on what we call our Enhanced Partnership and Cooperation Agreement, and we have been having this for 10 years. And now we also want to actually have this cooperation looking forward to the next years ahead of us, but translating our cooperation into strong results on so many different aspects: political dialogue and rule of law, but also economy and trade, climate, critical raw material, and also regional development. So this is our direction of travel that we want to keep and to strengthen with solid projects and solid results.
That direction of travel is becoming increasingly literal as both sides big on connectivity. Kazakhstan supplies 13% of the EU's oil imports and 16% of its uranium needs. Around 4,000 European companies operate in our country, and since independence, EU investment exceeded $200 billion in total. Kazakhstan also holds reserve of 21 out of 34 strategic minerals identified by the EU, including lithium, cobalt, titanium, and uranium. And at the core of this investment is the EU's Global Gateway initiative. At the summit in Samarkand, Brussels committed 12 billion euros for Central Asia, earmarking 3 billion for the Middle Corridor, 2.5 billion for critical raw materials, and 6.4 billion for energy and climate projects. The Trans-Caspian route stretches over 4,000 kilometers of railway lines and 500 kilometers of maritime links across the Caspian Sea, connecting China to Europe via Kazakhstan. On the ground, the projects are already taking shape. The EU's €30 million Trans-Caspian support program is backing the modernization of the port of Aktau and upgrade of the BNO60 role, and at the digitalization of cross-border procedures. And the people-to-people connections are also play a very crucial role. I met here in Brussels with the president of the Kazakhstan EU Gateway organization, which helps to boost cooperation. Let's listen together.
Kazakhstan EU Gateway is a non-governmental, non-profit organization based here in Brussels. We are working on two main topics, which is a middle corridor and critical raw materials cooperation. One of the main projects, we established a joint platform of EU-Kazakhstan cooperation in critical raw materials fields. Besides that, we also work closely with magazines like Diplomatic World, Euro Reporter, Euro Reflect to position well Kazakhstan EU Gateway. So in many fields, there is such cooperational work is done. But also, we also would like to highlight that in terms of middle corridor, we had established very good ties with Kazakh Express, the main national operator of the middle corridor. So in the middle corridor, we also did some events in end of April. I mean, putting together all the stakeholders from European side and Kazakh side, but also there is countries definitely on the road which are also involved in the project, like Azerbaijan, Georgia, Armenia.
What emerges from Brussels is clear picture. The Kazakhstan EU partnership has moved well beyond diplomatic formalities, and 10 years since the EPTA was first signed, both sides are now focused on translating political commitments into measurable results, from logistic corridors and critical minerals to green energy and digital transformation. Nurbek, that's all I have for now. The floor is back to you.
Thanks, Almir Amirov from Brussels.